Well, hey, last thing, Shane. Man, I'm already getting fired up for next season. Even I forgot some of these games were coming up, but man, we have got a stellar lineup of non-conference football games here next season. I'm getting excited. I know it's like 250 days away, but I cannot wait for some of these matchups, Shane. And I pretty much am just going to go in the order of the games I'm most anticipating. So these are the biggest non-conference games that these SEC teams got next season. How's that sound?
Oh, sounds like my New Year's resolution, Mike. It's down the drain. Let's. I'm ready. I'm ready to critique this thing. What do you got?
All right, number one, I'm going to, like I said, I'm starting off with the games that I think are most anticipated in my mind. And we got Alabama, Shane, on the road at Texas, week 2 of the season. Nick Saban, Steve Sarkisian. I know Texas isn't that good, but it's not often we see Alabama in a venue like this. And this, you got to believe this is going to be the Longhorns Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, even if they ain't that good, they're gonna give it everything they got for a game like this.
They got to.
It'll probably be taken over by Crimson Tide fans. That'll probably be even more beautiful. But man, I just love these home and homes, and I don't know if there's a bigger marquee one than Alabama at Texas.
Mike, I'm telling you. I mean, just think about how big the Arkansas-Texas game was. It was one of those that they just kept building up. We did it with LSU in Texas. It's just one of those games we kind of put on a platform, and now you got Texas that's coming to the SEC, and who you going to face a lot? Alabama. So I think this is going to be a great matchup. No-brainer for me, number one on the list. I do want to ask you a quick question about Mike. We're getting a little late. I'm not hearing a lot of rumors or anything like that. It doesn't sound like Texas and Oklahoma are moving anytime soon, correct? Or are you hearing anything or anything? I know we've got over the news section, but since you brought Texas up, I'm just wondering, are we still on schedule multiple years down the road bringing them in, or do you think this thing changes in the offseason?
Well, apparently, Shane, the SEC is basically, they're in the process right now of getting. So next season is going to be obviously the 2022 season. And right now they're in the process of doing the 2023 season. And from what I'm hearing, they are basically doing 2 schedules. So one without Texas and Oklahoma and one with Texas and Oklahoma for 2023. So it certainly seems like that's kind of what the target date that they're going for. But if they can get it done even quicker, they would. But I wonder how that would affect the schedules that are already out. I mean, they're so far out. I know we can rearrange them, but it would cause quite the headache. So, I mean, at this rate, I don't know if it's going to happen. I really don't for next season, but I certainly hope it does because, man, that'll just throw a monkey wrench in the whole thing. And if we know it's coming, it needs to come quick. You know what?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, and they kind of threw it together during COVID. You know what I'm saying? When they did the all SEC schedule. So it is feasible. It is possible. But I'm with you. I think we're going to be at least another year out. So it's a taste, man. We said it last year when they played Arkansas. But who better than Texas and Alabama? I think that's going to be a awesome, awesome game.
Now, how about this one, Shane? Another home and home. It's great. We're getting more and more home and homes. We're moving away from the neutral site games. Miami at Texas A&M, Shane. I didn't even forgot all about that one. Week 3 of the season, College Station. What a setting. And I know Miami's not like the greatest team in the world, but seeing Miami in College Station, that's going to be just incredible, incredible atmosphere.
So you're saying this is number 2 on your list?
I think so, just because that's a marquee program coming. I don't know if they've ever played in College Station.
Yeah, well, I mean, I get it, but it seems like we do this every year with Miami, and we talk them up, and they're going to be good, I mean, then we watch Florida kick their ass. Then we watch Alabama kick their ass. It's like, come on now. I mean, when do we stop putting Miami up there on the list, So I don't know if I'd have it quite number 2 yet because I think this one we're going to turn over in the second quarter. We're going to say, what other game is on?
All right, how about this one? This one should be a little bit more competitive, but I docked it because it's a neutral field, Shane. We hate these neutral fields. Georgia versus Oregon
Oh, yeah.
in Atlanta, opening weekend. The national champions, and don't forget, defensive coordinator Dan Lanning. He's taking over at Oregon now. Oregon's got Bo Nix now. I mean, so this is going to be a little bit more marquee of a game. Oregon is pretty damn good. I think they were number 2 in the Pac-12 last year. So
yeah,
there
was a lot of. They beat Ohio State there for a while. Was considered being one of the college football playoff teams. So, this is a big game. Obviously, Dan knows exactly what's coming to town. Where's it going to be held at? It's a neutral site game, right? So,
yeah, in Atlanta, in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Oh, God. It might as well be in Athens, brother. So
exactly.
That's going to be a good game. And it's always fun to watch Oregon. I think of some of the games they've had in the SEC past. Wasn't it Auburn? That one came down to the wire. So they've been competitive. I expect this to be a little bit more competitive than we've seen in years past from Oregon. So, good game. I like this one. I'd move this one. Man, this is probably number 2 on me right now.
All right, how about this one, Shane? Cincinnati just went to the playoff. Opening the season at Arkansas, and that'll be a nice little test for both those teams. But hey, there's no cupcake for Arkansas right off the bat here. You want to prove that Cincinnati don't belong on the same field with you, so that's a big one for me.
Did Cincinnati lose their quarterback?
I think they lost damn near everybody, but
oh, that's great. Hey, the good news is, Mike, we can go ahead and get rid of the undefeated talk. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to worry about these guys getting penciled in for the top 4 teams in the country. So, no, it's. I mean, there's still going to be a top 25 program, I'd imagine, and this will be a big victory for Sam and them. I don't want to give away my pick just yet, but I think this is going to be a great game, good test, and it's going to get you ready for the SEC quicker than everyone else.
Now, how about this one, Shane? I probably underrated this one, but we got Utah just won the Pac-12. They played in the Rose Bowl, opening the season at Florida, the first game of the Billy Napier era. That should be a hell of a matchup too, don't you think?
Yeah, Utah's one of those tricky teams, man. I mean, it's one of those that you automatically give yourself a victory, but then, at halftime you're like, holy shit, this thing's close. It's like, So you cannot sleep on Utah. I doubt the Florida Gators will, but this is going to be a good game. I'd like to see this.
Now, how about this? Again, this is the last neutral site matchup, thankfully on the docket here, but we got LSU versus Florida State in the season opener in New Orleans, where the Saints play. So it's going to be a home field advantage, I would imagine, for LSU. But first game of the Brian Kelly era against Florida State.
Yeah,
he's got a lot to prove in that one.
No, I like this. This isn't a matchup you're going to see often. So this is one. I don't think have they ever played. I've not been on. I've not checked their Wikipedia lately, but I can't remember a time these two programs got together. Do you?
I feel like they might have played in a Sugar Bowl or something like that, but I don't know. LSU, FSU.
What? They make a little app called Google. So let me just see if LSU Wikipedia. I'm sure you could pause it for the listeners.
Yep.
Okay, they played quite a bit. 9 games here.
Uh-oh.
So I'm not paying for that. 1991 was the last time, Mike. So FSU owns the series. 91, 90, 89, 83. So that was, we were kids, so we probably weren't really paying attention. Actually, you should have been. You were a Florida State fan back then. But, hey, I think this is going to be a good victory for LSU. Marquee team. It's always good to beat ACC programs. And who better? I mean, you literally you got Florida and Florida State now. You may own the state if you play your cards right. So,
now how about this one, Shane? A rematch of one we just got. It's the return visit. Penn State at Auburn, week 3 of the season. Tigers fell just short up there in wherever the hell they play, Penn State. But now we're getting the return trip. We're gonna get some revenge with the Auburn Tigers on the Plains, hosting Penn State. That should be a great matchup, don't you think?
Absolutely. I thought that was a great game last year, and I think the refs kind of screwed them a little bit. But I think, what better than a bounce back game this season? So that was going to be exciting. That one I'd move up the list, but just because how close it was last year.
Now, how about this one, Shane? It's not often we get an SEC team traveling out west, but we got Arkansas at BYU. Middle of the season, week 7. So it's very interesting that Arkansas is going to travel out there. I know BYU, obviously a proud football tradition,
Right.
and they're usually pretty solid. So I don't think it's going to be a gimme. I think the last time a SEC team traveled out to BYU, it was Dan Mullen, Mississippi State, and I think BYU won that game, if I recall.
So what part of the season is this?
Week 7.
What game is this? Week 7. Okay, so you got a few games under your belt. Yeah, I mean, by this time both the teams are humming, so it should be a good matchup, brother. That BYU is kind of like Utah. It's just one of those teams you can never put away. You can never count them out because it seems like they got a NFL quarterback every 3 or 4 years. So I don't know what they got on the roster. Haven't done any deep dive into BYU, but I think it'd be a hell of a matchup, and it'd be kind of cool seeing Arkansas get a victory out west.
Now, how about this one's for you, Shane? Revenge game for last season. It's the return trip, the Johnny Majors Classic here. Tennessee at Pitt, week 2 of the season. Josh Heupel, Hendon Hooker. They got to get this one to make up for last year. You know what?
Yeah, maybe they'll talk about Johnny Majors a little bit here. It felt like it was Peyton Manning and the quarterback. So I we don't have to listen to that for 2 or 3 hours. So I think this is going to be a good matchup. This is kind of like you said, a revenge game. There was I think Tennessee, if they would have played them at the end of the season, I don't think it would even have been close. So now Tennessee has an identity. Tennessee has an offense, and it'd be fun to go up there in Pennsylvania and get a victory.
Oh, Shane, real quick, just a little aside here. Last week I referenced it, but Tennessee and Washington, they've got a home and home. They just scheduled, and I saw I think it was on Twitter, someone posted, the future schedule of Tennessee, and I can't remember who's all on it, but obviously Pitt, Washington, there's some other marquee games coming up, and the first comment under it, Shane, I thought you'd really appreciate this, said, I look forward to all those teams having a franchise quarterback the years Tennessee plays.
Oh, ain't that the truth, man? It just seems like every time the backup quarterback comes in or something, and then all of a sudden he's in the NFL. So, oh, man, that's awesome. That wasn't me, but that was a great comment.
Hey, how about this one, Shane? Vandy, it's like a bowl trip to open the season. Week 1, this is pretty bizarre. Vanderbilt at Hawaii. Nice little trip. I'd go out there a couple weeks early if I was Clark Lee and Cuppy and just soak it in, hang out with the Flying Hawaiian, get you a win to start the season because Hawaii's not worth anything. How about that? That's a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, Clark Lee scheduled that one, didn't he? He's like, does San Diego got a team? Let's go over there next year. Well played, Coach. Well played. No, that'd be a fun game. It'd be a late game, too. So not used to watching those after-hours pack games, but that would be a good matchup there.
Now, we got 2 for Mississippi State, Shane, back-to-back, week 1, week 2. And I really just went Memphis first because they're week 1 because we got to get payback. They're coming to Starkville next season. And then Mississippi State, again, this is weird, headed out west to play at Arizona. So Mississippi State, they always find these really odd games. NC State, Memphis last year, this year, Memphis, Arizona. But, man, the Pirate facing a Pac-12 opponent that he's crushed time and time again. I can't wait to see that. But really looking forward to this Memphis game because as long as the same refs don't show up, we're in good hands here in the SEC. You know what?
Yeah, that's right. Another revenge game for the refs. But I think this is I like this. I don't know if you've noticed, but it seems like they are making an effort to get out west. The SEC's growing. We've got Texas, we got Oklahoma now. The only thing now is just to take over the West and the North. So you do that by scheduling games out there so more people have their eyes on you. So I think this is a smart move from the Pirate and gang. I think this thing's been playing for a few years. I don't know if I can give him credit, but it will be an awesome matchup, and I like seeing it.
Now, how about this one, Shane? Missouri at Kansas State, week 2 of the season. That's, again, not a typical SEC stomping ground. Their game in the Midwest. That's going to be a big one for Eli Drinkwitz and company because Kansas State, I know LSU basically took half a team there, but Kansas State beat them. So, hey, we got something to prove here against Kansas State.
Yeah, fun team to watch. What was it? Mississippi State they played a few years back. That was a hell of a game.
I remember you bet on that one.
Yeah, I did. Of course, I did. That's the old helicopter game, I think. So when what's his name got sent up in the air. But anyway, that should be a good matchup. Now, Dan Snyder, what is he, 105? He's going to be coaching this thing, or they got another son in there?
They got his 50-year-old grandson taking over. So
there you go.
And last one, Shane, Ole Miss at Georgia Tech. I don't know that they've ever played. Week 3 of the season, they are traveling to Atlanta to take on the Yellow Jackets. So I just thought that'd be a little bit of an interesting game. Ole Miss at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, if it's the same Georgia Tech I saw last year, that won't be a game at all. So that's a tune-up game right there, brother.
And the only 2 teams we didn't mention, South Carolina and Kentucky, Shane. I mean, my goodness, you look at their non-conference schedule, it's laughable. Yeah. Outside of the South Carolina at Clemson, of course, so that's got to be the marquee one. And then Louisville at Kentucky. They're the rivalry weeks. We always look forward to those, but the other 3 games those teams are playing, not even worth discussing in this format. I mean, they're that bad.
Hey, that's what you do, man. That's what I'd do if I was a new coach. I don't know what Mark's excuse is. He could take on quite a few teams out there, but if I'm Beamer, this is what I want. I want a couple of easy victories because I want to make the bowl. So right. I do that by scheduling these. So I don't blame them. And when you do have your rival is Clemson, a team that keeps finding their ways into college football playoff talk, you definitely got to be careful with scheduling. So I don't blame them on this. Now, a couple of years from now when Beamer's got the boys humming, we're going to make fun of that schedule for sure. Mm-hmm. Like Mark should have scheduled somebody. There's no reason. Do you have their off season? Do you have their 3 opponents?
Yeah. Okay, so here's Shane. Here's the non-conference schedule for Kentucky next season. And these are all home games. Yeah. All 4 of them. Miami, but of Ohio. Oh. Miami of Ohio to open the season. Youngstown State, week 3. That's not even FBS team. Northern Illinois. And then Louisville there to close out the schedule. So, I mean, you got – there's your four wins right there. You got to beat Vanderbilt.
Youngstown.
You're one SEC. You got to win 2 SEC games to go to a bowl game.
Yeah, those boys work the mines in the morning, then they're going to play at night,
Here's South Carolina's because we're not just trying to call out Kentucky here. Georgia State at home. Mm-hmm. Charlotte at home. Ooh. South Carolina State at home. So,
don't even know where it's at. Don't even know. That's one of those made-up teams that you get on NCAA. Bring them up to the SEC. Tiburon. You remember them Tiburon Sharks?
Exactly.
Making their uniforms. Yeah. Oh, God. I love it. I love it, man. I don't blame it. I would do it too, man. I just want to win. I'm not going to act like I wouldn't do it. But after my team's, kicking ass in the SEC, I'm probably going to just schedule just one team that is marquee and I don't have to pay them money to play, Gee.